Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lima again. Welcome to Peru. It is a pleasure to have you in this beautiful afternoon here in my city, and especially because today we will be learning about archaeology, which is one of the topics I enjoy the most of learning and also sharing, teaching. My name is Vanessa. I am your Lima City tour guide. I've been guiding for several years in Lima, taking travelers to different parts of my city and as well also to different parts of the country. So today we will be talking about archaeology, but also we will be talking about a very interesting site. It is a place that has basically no comparison in the coast of Peru and also in the country because, well, today you will learn more about it, but basically it's a residence, the site we will visit virtually. I will be using a recording from a tour I did several years ago. It was 2022 when we did this tour on a platform that, well, doesn't exist anymore. It's named HeyGo, and HeyGo was a virtual platform to travel to different places from the comfort of your home. So back in the times of the world pandemic, I was conducting tours to different sites in the country, mainly in Lima, and we did a tour to this site. So I have the recording of this event, and today I will share with you how this place looks like. Well, it hasn't really changed, of course, since 2022, but also, well, now times are different. So, well, only in-person tours are allowed in the site, not anymore virtual. So I'm very lucky to say that we have a very special recording of that site, which nowadays, well, we will not be able really to do again or even to visit virtually. So, well, before we begin, I would like to thank you for being here in this Saturday afternoon. For me, well, it's basically 1 p.m. sharp. And also, well, if you wish to support this initiative, this project I'm having here to share virtually the history of Peru and different places and sites, also just to learn. Basically the idea is to learn about the history of this country and who we are, who Peruvians are, from the perspective of a Peruvian. You can support with a donation on PayPal. I will be also letting you know later how you can donate if you wish to do that. And well, it's always really a pleasure to be with you. Also, I have lots of videos about, well, other events and recordings of this kind of virtual tours on YouTube. You can visit my YouTube channel easily by just, let's say, looking for Adventurous Travel Guide. So let me write for you the name of my site here in the chat. And also, you can, if you wish, practice using the chat. I just want to know if everything is working all right. So also my name is Vanessa Vasquez. So let me know if you can see my message. Hi, Charity. Thanks for joining, by the way. So, well, welcome you all. We have 5 people already here in the group. So, well, thanks for being here today. So, well, I will start sharing the images I have and the video. Basically, we have a video and we have a slideshow. Briefly, I want to give you an idea where we go and what we will see there, maybe answering some questions. You can use the chat for questions anytime, please. And let me know if you can hear me well, if you can see me well. Also, probably you will not see my video during the event because I will disconnect my camera to give more, like focus more like the internet in the projection of the video, which usually requires a lot of internet. So, okay. Are you ready to begin? I hope yes. And well, thanks for being here today. Okay. Oh, I am still meeting some people here. So, hola, hola. Hi. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being on time. Well, we will now begin. So I will first look to the share. So I hope you can hear me well. I know there's usually a little delay in the transmission. Um, but well, let's start. And well, here we are talking about Puruchuco, an archaeological site located in the east of Lima. So later I will tell you exactly where it is and how far away from the city center of Lima. But Puruchuco, the name, the word Puruchuco comes from an ancient dialect that was used in this part of the country before the arrival of the conquistadors. So the archaeological site we will see used to be a residence. It used to be a residence of the most important person that ruled that part of the valley. So it was the house of a leader. This is how Lima looks like. The city of Lima is a city of, well, nowadays over 12 million inhabitants. This is where we all live. Lima is also the capital of Peru, and the geography of Lima is complicated also. We have a flat section in the city next to the ocean, and we have the mountains, which are the foothills of the Andes. The coast per se, the flat zone of this territory is narrow. We have starting from more or less 8 kilometers away from the coastline, mountains. So imagine in the pre-Hispanic times, imagine in the times of our indigenous ancestors, the indigenous people of this location before the arrival of the conquistadors, how they were able to survive in such location, in such environment. Well, life is and was not easy also in this part of the country. And that's because Lima lays on a desert. This is a desert, amigos. Lima is the second largest city in the world built on a desert. Okay, we have here, for example, clearly described the three rivers that are, well, the reason of our existence in this location, because we have less than 1 cubic centimeter of rain per year. That's pretty much nothing, especially for 12 million people nowadays. So the water we use in the cities along the coast of Peru, not just in Lima, along the coast of Peru, is water from rivers that are born in the Andes, that are most of them born from glaciers, or also are product of deviation of the water from glaciers, plus the water of rains that occur in the rainy season in the Andes. So you can see here also lots of different sites marked in red color. These are archaeological sites that still exist in Lima. And you can also find Puruchuco in the center of this map. Okay, so Puruchuco is very close to Rimac River. The city of Lima has three main rivers that are the source of the water for the population of this part of the country. River Chillon in the north, in the center, River Rimac, and we have Lurin in the south. When the Spanish conquistadors came, there were over 400 temples in just in this section of the valley. It's very hard to determine how many people live in this part of the country. Some speculation says about 200,000, for example, people in this location, which could be reasonable. With the advanced and very sophisticated systems used in that time related with creation of aqueducts, for example. So you saw in the previous map the main rivers, but also you can see that in the pre-Hispanic times, there were lots of aqueducts in the city. And well, this is how people were able to survive here. Because in a city, you need a lot of water, and especially in a city like, well, the ones we used to have in the coast of Peru, a city that was built in mud bricks. We will go in detail about this later, but for producing mud bricks or mud walls, you need a lot of water. The site we are going to see virtually today in this recording I've done in 2022 was studied and also restored, even reconstructed also in parts. There's reconstruction done by a man who was a Peruvian of a very interesting ancestry. He was descendant of a curaca, the curaca of Tacna in the south of the country. So what is a curaca? Well, curaca was a chief or a authority with a very, very novel origin, pre-Hispanic origin. So this man, Arturo Jimenez Borja, who you can see also on the right-hand side, standing there proudly next to some walls of the archaeological site we will visit, this man was not an archaeologist, but he was we usually refer to this type of people and wise men as Peruanistas, a person who dedicated most of his life to study the history of Peru, especially the pre-Hispanic history of Peru. And he, and also with a group of many friends, like you can see, for example, this picture in which we can see all the Peruvians. He's in the front center with the white shirt. Well, these were Peruvians and also non-Peruvians. For example, I can recognize in that same picture on the left-hand side standing a man who is also another very important recognized participant of this movement towards rediscovering our history, Mr. Yoshitaro Amano. So he was a Japanese man who, well, lived in Peru, who created also a museum, another museum, the Amano Museum, which has a wonderful collection of textiles from pre-Hispanic periods, eras. So, well, this is the type of friends also he had that helped him to study this site. And this is one of the oldest pictures of the archaeological site we are going to see today. We're going to visit. Oh, sorry. And you can notice here that it has a, well, originally was not really in a very good shape. Very few elements were still resistant in the 1950s when this man started to study. This was the starting point, and here, well, how it looks in this moment. Just give me a second. I will admit one person. Thanks for joining, by the way. Welcome, welcome. So from the before, this is early 50s, we can see the nowadays. Okay, evidently there is a lot of reconstruction in the site. Well, now it is not possible for archaeologists or anyone good-hearted that wants to bring back like temples like this one to the nowadays reality for us to understand the site. It is not possible to do it. There are now limits in terms of reconstructions. We can do restoration, which is something different. But in the 50s, early 60s, nobody really monitored how much you did. Well, our say protector of the site, Arturo Jimenez Borja, he did the best he could to bring it back, especially to protect it, and for us modern people to understand the site and wanted to protect the site, right? So this is the plan, the map inside the archaeological place where we're going to be soon. The site is about, let's say, 40 meters wide, 30 deep, and it has an additional section that is on the left-hand side, which was sort of like a porch or a garage of llamas. Later, we're going to talk about that. So this was a residence. That's the highlight of this place. We have lots of temples in all kinds of conditions along the coast of Peru, and also in the rest of the country, of course, temples, shrines, places for worshiping, but we have almost none evidences of residences. Well, so this is a special case. The site, the building or the house is divided in two segments. We can see also there is a public part, which is the yellow section, which is also the oldest and seems that is even older than Inca period. We will talk about the Inca and the Ishmas and well, what this means soon. And then the orange section is later, is more modern, let's say, is Inca, and is a private space. So public and private sections. Well, this is also a picture from the time when this place was in process of restoration and standing and investigation. And the name of the site is Puruchuco. Well, the picture is also related with the name of the site because Puruchuco, according to investigators, means headdress. So there were authorities in the Incan times, in the pre-Hispanic times, that were, of course, differentiated with other people, from other people by different elements they use, by different types of, could be adornments, and in this case also these sort of like crowns that were called Puruchuco. There are reference of this also in chronicles of the Spanish, and this is the case of a burial that had also, the mummy had this adornment, this headdress that had feathers, okay? This is actually how the Puruchuco might have looked like in the time of the past, in the time when they were used as a symbol of status. By the way, this headdress was not the one used by the lord of this site per se, because this is a recreation of a one that was used by the last curaca or governor of the Valley of Lima. So a different location, but basically in the same region. This man was Taurichusco, and this was the last lord of the territory that later became the historic center of Lima that the conquistadors also conquered, right? So this is how these laws look like. Also, there are interesting evidences of, oh, sorry, there's one person coming. Evidences of these sort of like fights in the colonial period when, well, the indigenous receive sort of like impacts of bullets. So this is also from the section in the back of the site. You can see skulls with holes that were caused by bullets. Right? Okay, amigos. So we're going to admit one more person, and I will also change now the element to be shared. So, well, now we're going to pass to the video. There is any question, by the way, in the group? I want to check also if there's any question. By the way, if you want to see any other recorded events like this one, please visit my YouTube channel. In the chat, I put the name of my YouTube channel. You can find me under Adventurous Travel Guide. Also, there is information in each one of my videos if you wish to donate and support events like this one on PayPal. Okay, well, now we will go to the next element, which is a video. And also for this purpose, I will turn off my camera. And also we are going to begin. Okay, I hope you can see the video correctly. Also, I'll put the volume down completely, so in that way you can hear me narrating the story. Okay, Um, well, this site we're going to visit today is located quite distant from the center of the cities, on the east side of the valley of Lima in direction to the mountains. You can see also the geography of this site. It's, well, very hilly. The hills in the coast of Peru tend to be very arid because we don't have rain, that you know very well from the beginning of the explanation. You can see there the site, the place nowadays named or called Puruchuco. Okay, I will explain in a moment about the time frame when this site was done, was built. But first, some generalities that are necessary to be known to understand, for example, the construction techniques, why they use mud for the architecture of the coast, in the coast of Peru, and more things. So first of all, we are, as you know, in the coast of Peru. The coast is located sort of like between two very important elements. We have the mountain range, the Andes, which its elevations can go to over 6,000 meters above sea level. And we have the ocean, the Pacific, on the other side. The Pacific has in this section a very cold current that is known as Humboldt current. The Humboldt current makes the temperature of the ocean very cold. The temperature of the ocean here in our latitude, we are 12 degrees below the equator, south equator, is about 14 degrees Celsius all year round. That's about 56 Fahrenheit. So it's quite cold. Well, the cold water produces an interesting phenomena here, something called inversión térmica or thermal inversion. Some cities in the world have that, but it's not a very common thing. It means that in zones that are cities that are close to bodies of water that are quite cold, but also that the geography of that location is close to the equator or warm locations in planet Earth. Well, the air is quite cold close to the, let's say, ground level, and warm high, which is unusual. It should be the other way around. It should be warmer closer to the ground and colder higher you go. Well, the cause, the sort of like the resulting of the different pressures of the air, hot and cold, produce that in cities like Lima, we have a gray sky for a long period of time. So about 6 months every year, the city of Lima is gray. Okay. And also we have high humidity. We have a high concentration of humidity all year round. So Lima has just two seasons. Well, we have summer and we have, well, the gray season, which is sort of like a fall, spring. We never really get to see a winter. The temperatures are also mild in the coast of Peru and in Lima. In summer, the hottest day is around 30 degrees Celsius. That's about 90 Fahrenheit. And in winter, the coldest we get is about 15 Celsius. That is about 60, more or less, Fahrenheit. So, well, it's a very pleasant climate. But in Lima, we don't have rain. We have high humidity, but no rain. No, the clouds never really condense, no, to turn into rain. So that's why you see the hillside very arid. And also you see that the temples like this one, for example, we started a high or elevated view of the site, a panoramic view of the site. But you can see as we go down, the wall is all made in mud. Okay, so just imagine if we had rain in Lima. 1 more centimeter of rain per year. So definitely the architecture of this site will be affected because, of course, mud and rain are not very good friends. Well, this site was destroyed not by rains. It was destroyed by the sacking, the looting of the site, and also the exposure to the natural elements during 400 years plus. So this is why the site was not really in good condition in the 1950s. And it was really used still in the 1950s as a, let's say, sort of like stable for animals. Oh, so there were animals placed there. So imagine that. Meaning that also the nearby community knew of this place, but they really didn't care much on the site. So well, the wall is made in this mud, let's say, mixed with also some other organic elements that thatch. And the technique of construction is tapia or tapial, which consists in sort of like using molds. Well, let me admit one more person. Okay, so molds like walls made from wood, like let's say on one side, one wood piece, like a board, on the other side, also another board, hollow in the center, and fresh mud was added inside. You can also see there is an inclination of some few degrees to inwards of the walls. And well, that also has a reason. This is a seismic proven construction. And this technique is, well, it was widely used in pre-Hispanic times by different societies. Well, most people know Peru from the Incas. The Inca society started to expand around the 1200s in the center of the country, south center of the country, the Andes. And then later they even took this part of the country, the coast, and they expanded for a very, very big space of territory. But well, they use this technique. So here is, by the way, my husband. And the explanation I'm trying to say is I'm not really fighting with him. It is that if you are standing straight with your legs together close and someone tries to push you, it will be very difficult for you to start to be still standing. But if you open your legs, you have more stability. Okay, so that's what this example try to say. So that is the reason why the inclined walls are basically trapezoidal. They are trapezoids. No, they are not, let's say, inclined, and inside also still there is an inclination like the Pisa tower. No, they are wider in the bottom, narrower on the top. Okay, so the Incas made famous this technique because they use it in their temples made of stone, but also in the coast, temples made from mud were similarly designed. This segment of the temple this is external, of course, from the site, had tombs. Okay, well, the burials in pre-Hispanic times follow certain patterns, and there were certain forms of like proceeding with burials, locations also that were considered to be the best for burials. We need to understand that the pre-Hispanic people consider the dead very important. It's not that someone dies and they abandon the body in a zone that they will not see again that body. The bodies were located in special places, usually elevated zones for obvious reasons. Now, if you bury your dead close to, in the valley, close to a river, and when they are floatings, yeah, the tombs will be all floated, of course. No? So they prefer to put the tombs in higher locations, and those places had to be accessible because the pre-Hispanic people practice this is a cult, a form of cult to the dead. The dead were fed, food was usually brought to them. There were ceremonies that nowadays we don't really understand very well that were related with the dead, and the dead were buried in fetal embryonic position in these little chambers. And well, as you know already, they were visited. Many of these cemeteries were destroyed in more recent times by looters, or by people who were specialized in finding places like those, because mummies were usually covered in lots of adornments and gold and silver jewelry and fabrics that were of the highest quality, which are still on sale in the black market. Nowadays, unfortunately, online still is possible to find objects original from well, looting. But of course, you can imagine this is illegal, no? But it's possible still to find elements like this ones. There is a market that sadly still exists. Now we're getting closer to the entrance. I hope that there's no question. I don't see any question emerging. Hope it's, let me just check if there is anything. Oh no, seems that there's no question yet, but please be welcome to ask anything about this site. So remember, this is a residence. Huh? Well, in that section, I was explaining a little bit about also another important phenomena that affected the coast of Peru, and it is the Niño phenomena. So just long story short, the Niño phenomena is the increasing of the temperature of the ocean. The Humboldt current is a cold current of water that comes from the south, from the Antarctica, in the south, in the extreme south, icy water. But sometimes in the ancient times, there was that was a sort of like a variation of every 25 years, more or less. So there was a pattern of 25 years in which, well, the current was the Humboldt current with no alterations. And then later we had the Niño phenomena. The Niño phenomena is the heating of the temperature of the water, the raising of the temperature of the water, and that affected terribly everything. The architecture, the agriculture, the culture, the society, the religion, everything. It was an alteration of the, let's say, the nature of the site. So with warmer water in the coast, you have more rains. Okay, so that was the reason why it was so chaotic. So this section, now we are getting into a room, the sort of like a long rectangle shaped room annexed or attached to the site. This was the sort of like the garage section of the house under modern terminologies. This was the llama's garage, if you wish to call it in a way. So this porch section, this space was used to leave the llamas that were used to transport goods into this place. Why people were transporting goods and products from different locations to here, that you will know in a moment. So how we know this was a llama porch, a llama garage? Well, the poop of the llamas. Several layers of poop was found in that site. So that means that well, llamas were led there to rest after long trips. When we think about llamas, when we think about the American or South American cameloids, we usually think in the Andes. because of course we imagine them being an Andean creature that goes in the highest parts of the country, and indeed they are adapted, let's say, to that environment. But we know that in the coast of Peru, there was also a variety of llama fully adapted to this, let's say, location. I have a question from Sheila. Thank you, Sheila. Would they have had the chinchero type mummies that I've read about, when them finding in the Atacama Desert, chinchero? Very interesting question, Sheila. To be very honest, I am not very sure about those mummies from Atacama Desert. I know Atacama Desert being in Chile as well, in that particular site. But I cannot really help you like doing a comparison. But let me describe probably how our mummies used to be, our, let's say, our so because we're talking about mummies, right? So how the mummies used to be here. So basically in the pre-Hispanic times, we have different styles of, let me make a little stop here so we can also see better this image and properly answer your question, Sheila. So mummies in the pre-Hispanic times were treated differently for example, in the Andes and in the coast, and also according to the different cultures. For example, in Lima, we have a society named Lima culture that existed in the beginnings of Christian era until the year more or less 700 of our era, that were like buried in a lying position, extended position. They were not put in fetal embryonic position. Then later we had another culture named Wari. The Wari people came from the Andes, the South Andes. And these people were buried in fetal embryonic position, okay? And from that moment on, we have the fetal embryonic position, which is like seated, and usually the bodies were wrapped in layers of, let's say, fabrics, according to the status of the person, more beautiful or less, let's say, like a beautiful, or more simple. Okay. So this is how these mummies were. I hope that also that helps you to understand a little bit better how the mummification happened. And it was a natural mummification, by the way. It was not intentional, like the Egyptians that remove organs from the body. It was done more naturally, like from sort of like the combination of the elements, the nature of the site, the wrapping, and also the use of some chemicals, like, for example, cinnabar that was poisonous. It has a very, very nice red color, this cinnabar. The bodies were covered with the cinnabar, but also is poisonous for any type of insects and bugs and anything. So in a way also help the preservation of the body. Okay, so thanks for the question, by the way. This is the site. You can see the place is divided in like inside the house. It's a house basically, two segments, like 1-7 on one side. That's the public space, and we have the private space, which will be 2, 4, 3, and 5. The number 6 is what we've seen already, which is the Lama's garage. Also, the temple has just one entrance and one exit, which is the one you see being marked by Marek in the video. So one entrance, one exit. And probably the site had also associated to this place, like more houses or more rooms externally, but they are gone. We refer to this place as the Palacio or palace. It has evidences of well, two different occupations. So I see also another comment. Hola, Roger. Hello. I'm looking at the layout of the building, but there seems to be no windows. Is that correct? Yes, that's right, Roger. No windows. And it, in a way, also transports me to another, say, like a culture in the in the medieval times in Spain, for example, in the let's say Iberian Peninsula, that had the same system. The Moorish. The Moorish also had built houses that were very introverted, that they didn't have like windows to the exterior, to keep the privacy of the house, the affairs of the house, the inside to the inside and not to the exterior. So it is pretty much the same idea. These were constructions that were very introverted, that were very private. Thanks for the question, by the way, Royer. Thank you so much. And you can see here a ramp, which is related with a very important culture from the city of Lima. And this technique of construction is something you will not see in the Andes, in Cusco. The ramp as an access to higher elevations of temples or houses. The Incas, which are more famous, of course, I think the most famous culture of Peru, pre-Hispanic culture, use steps everywhere. And it makes sense, by the way. It's a sort of like an element that proves their full adaptation to the climatic conditions where they live, the Andes. You can see, for example, here we don't have steps, we have ramps going to higher elevations. This is the only entrance to the house and the only exit. So this is the only way to get in. And probably the intention was to keep this construction protected and sort of like more easy to be administrated. One entrance only. The walls are quite high. You can see also restoration evidently on some segments of the wall. That was the part of the restoration done in the 50s, as the museum was already prepared to receive visitors in the year 1960. Also, once again, the ramp over here. So why ramps in the coast and not in the Andes? For example, imagine having ramps in the Andes. The ramps, for example, in the Andes, if there were any, had to be made of a stone, because it rains in the Andes. We have a rainy season and a dry season. But even in the rainy season, even though they were made in stone, they would be slippery, so impossible to be used properly. So that's why in the Andes, we use stone, but in the coast, there's no rain. And it was much easier to make accesses to elevated zones with ramps made of mud. So I think there is a question coming here. Okay, Roger, there looks to be a lot of modern concrete on the walls. Is that also great? Well, not concrete, Roger, but it's modern indeed. The restoration of this site was done by Arturo Jimenez Borja, a doctor, by the way, who invested lots of his money in the restoration of 3 archaeological sites in Lima. One of them is this one. I think this is the site he loved the most. And well, he even traveled to Mexico to study properly restoration of sites. So there you can see, for example, clearly the restored part, this very, very well like made edges in the upper part is restoration. And also you can see the original bricks next, or in parts of the wall. So thanks for that also commentary. And yes, well, all the construction is made in mud, pretty much using the same techniques of the pre-Hispanic times, by the way. But we don't know if there were parts that we are missing that, well, probably were destroyed. So this is the view from the center of this plaza. Okay, this plaza has, well, it's quite big, it's quite spacious, and it has a very, very good acoustic. So we don't need to raise our voice too much in the plaza. The acoustics are perfect. A leader can stand in front of us in the back section of the video in this moment and talk to a big audience here or a crowd. without really raising too much the voice, but the voice will feel very powerful. Look also the this ramps going to an elevated section. This is the, I don't know how to say, like a podium or a space for the leader to talk to the people. And there's really no like access from the center. There is from the sides. So the job of the person who lived in this house was to administrate the goods of the valley, of the community. There were products that had to be stored within the site, for example, situations like natural, catastrophes, El Nino phenomena. And also there were parts of the props that were given to this leader, for this leader to send it to the Inca. So the Inca was the authority. The Inca king was the authority. He ruled from Cusco, from the city of Cusco, and there was a tribute paid to the Inca also. In the pre-Hispanic times, we need to understand that there was no understanding of currency. There was no money. But the system in the pre-Hispanic times was, it had a lot of connections or relations in a way with the feudal system of Europe, of medieval Europe. There might be some elements, but no currency used, no currency. Also, we had a very, very clear stratification in pre-Hispanic times, in which the leader, the absolute leader, was, during the times of the Incas, the Sapa Inca, or the King Inca, who was a divine figure, who was the son of the sun, the head of the church, and basically the king, the ruler, three-person in one, according to the European standards. And below him, there was a nobility, a blood nobility. There was also possibility of social like movement in that pyramid of stratification of that time. So below, also there were other authorities like local leaders, for example, and then the commons, commoneers. We can see also here a section that is the part that is restored and the part that is not restored clearly. Also, from the first picture we saw in the beginning of this event, I showed you some slideshows about the before and after. In the picture, this section is not there, this exact angle. It was all destroyed. The site was used until the 50s as a stable for animals. There was a community living next to this site. Families that were dedicated to the agriculture and also to raising animals that used this place, because the places like this one were not really protected until recently. So we still have families living in the back of the hill, where there are also other temples that are not possible for us anymore to be rescued or studied or restored. That, well, are in the site, in the archaeological site. Many people ask me, like, Vanessa, how is that possible? No, so those are archaeological sites that are like 600 years old, 700 years old. Well, that's how it is in Peru. So it's the never-ending problem about archaeological sites. Just a little parenthesis, this is the view from the leader to the crowd. And now we will walk a little bit inside this place. We still are in good time. Yes, 1:44. So we still have time to wander around the site. So now we're getting into the private section. And also the section that is considered the newest. Look at this door frame. I'm going to do a little stop here because I want you to have an idea of what I want to share with you here. Well, this door frame is very, very peculiar, and is the reason why we say that this site, this site is Inca. So this section of the house is Inca. We have just trying to let's say recall what I explained before. We have a section that is public and a section that is private in the house, right? The public section is believed that it was built before the Incas in the coast of Peru. So the Incas arrived to Lima around the year 1450 to 1470, okay? So it means that the Incas had about 70 to a little bit less years in the city of Lima until the arrival of the conquistadors, okay? So there were almost nothing here in the coast of Peru. The Incas were in their biggest expansion, creating the Tawantinsuyo kingdom. When the Spanish came, they started the conquest of this territory in the year 1532. They arrived to Lima in 1535. Okay, so the Incas had almost no time to build Incan architecture. Also, when the Spanish came, there was already another society here, the Ishma culture, which this society lose power when the Incas came, but they continue existing. And the Ishma leaders, the Incas had a very good decision, made a good decision, a good move. They kept the Ishma leaders, the already ruling society, but they tax that people, they tax them. Okay, so that's why we believe this house existed before the arrival of the Incas, and it was a house of a very important leader. But when the Incas came, well, they did some modifications in the house. They probably deposed the leader, they changed the leader, but they still used it as a very important residence. Okay, so that element you see there is named in Spanish doble jamba, or double frame. And that is a symbol of high status. Only the temples in Cusco of the highest importance have this element. You can see this element of the two frames in Machu Picchu, or in palaces, in Incan palaces that exist in the city of Cusco, just to call few. So meaning that, well, this room probably was used by a very important person, or it was a very important part that we don't know exactly, like why, how they use it. Okay, and also we know that from this location, as we go across, we see a balcony, which we don't know exactly if it was a balcony, if it had a way to see out or not, but it will make good sense, because if it was a balcony or some type of shrine or place for worshiping, you will have the view of the valley, you will have the view of the river in the distance and the hills. And remember that these people were worshippers of, well, they were pantheist. They were worshippers of the natural elements. They were worshippers of the sun, of the moon, of the mountains, of the river, of the ocean. So from here, they had a view of pretty much all of those elements around them. A question probably you have in this moment is, what is this place in front of the site? Well, the archaeological site, first of all, until the 1950s, was inside an hacienda. The hacienda of, era the name Buena Vista, I think is the name, or Vista Alegre, I cannot remember. But basically, it was an hacienda that belonged to the Isola family. And well, they were very good friends with the men who studied and rescued this place, Jimenez Borja. So, well, Mr. Jimenez Borja asked to his friend to give him this space to be restored. And well, his good friend said, yes, okay, no problem. No? So the site was then divided. That place was used for the research, let's say, or the investigation, research purposes. And the rest, little by little, was sold. So that site across that we saw some people playing football, right? So that place belongs to a university, okay? So that football stadium or the football field belongs to a university, and the rest are houses. Oh, by the way, that was me in 2022. Don't worry, we don't use any more face masks, but we used to use face masks until 2000, yeah, late 2022. I still saw people using in different places in Lima, the face masks until 2023 even, no? Well, so once again, a view of the doble jamba, or this double frame that signifies a very important site, okay? Let's move a little bit forward this video here. So also I remember, so we are coming down the stairs also from that room, from that chamber we just saw. Look at the three steps, also signifying a very important element for the Incas, the three steps, the three worlds. The Hanan Pacha, Kai Pacha, and Ukui Pacha, the upper world, this world, and the underworld. The number three is very important. A narrow corridor that takes us into other sections, also private, or for ritual purposes, for religious purposes. A very narrow corridor. I remember also the internet was really bad in that section. That time we did, because this was a live transmission for the platform Hey Go. And we had lots of challenges during this particular part. Um, Also, I remember reading a paper about this is also the glitch of the internet in that section. In a moment, we're going to put it back. Okay, it's back the video. That, well, if there was, for example, an attack to the house, or some type of enemy group coming inside, trying to sack what was in there, this type of corridors would help to mitigate that problem, to fight these soldiers, enemies. Look at these triangles in the wall. This is also another very interesting element, unique, honestly, to this house. You will not see niches. These are called niches, or blind windows. In this shape, triangular shape, you will not see them anywhere else in the country, just here in Puruchuco. So that's why they have become also a symbol of the site. There are some speculations about how these elements were used. Well, some people said that they were used to put idols there, or elements related with the religion of these people. And also there are even people saying that they could be probably a type of solar clock that measure according to the shadows in the position of the sun, the time in the day. If it's the case, well, how an amazing system. And that probably means that there were many sections inside this temple that were not roofed, that were open. And probably this is one of those sections, because we see also a plaza. In a moment, you're going to see the plaza. It's smaller, of course, than the other one that was public. And seems that there is a space for the priests to sort of like prepare before the ceremonies, that you will see also in a moment as we turn around. Look at, well, the material also, it still is mud, mud bricks. And that is the section that seems to be, it was some type of changer, dresser, I think you would call it in English. So a space for preparations before the celebrations. Also, very curious, no, to see this element, this part of the house that is like a lower. Can you see that is lower than the rest? But we don't know exactly what that means as well. Let's move a little bit forward this section here. Okay. So because we had a glitch in that section. So that was my attempt to come inside that little chamber, which is very, very narrow, very little. And therefore also because we were very close to the wall, the internet was gone in that part. So here you have also another very important part. This is another peculiarity of the site. This very, very low frame, door frame that, well, not even the ancient Peruvians that were very short would be able to cross without like sort of like lowering the head. And there is no explanation about this shape. We don't know why it was like that. But Jimenez Borja, the investigator of this site, says that this is pre-Hispanic. So it's not a modification done by the people who live here, by the ones who took care of the animals in this section. So probably the intention was lowering the head of the persons coming into this room because there was also something sacred in this part. And this section has the storage part of the house. We can see a room and also some deep like wells where grains were deposited. This is what I will show you in a moment. Remember that this site was used as a granary. I think that's the correct word, as a place where grains and different produce were kept. It could be also fabrics also. It could be like anything done by the community to tax the Incas with these products. And also there was a part that was stored here for events like El Niño Phenomena, catastrophes, natural catastrophes. So people from that community will survive from the products accumulated here in this part. That is what we call a batan or mortar. There were several of them found in the site. This is probably related with part of the occupations that people in this house did with the grains. They ground those grains, making some type of flours and preserving those flours here, processing them and preserving them as well. So the storage section is ahead of us. You're going to see it in a moment. Is there any question also? Let me check if there is any question. I hope I didn't leave a question unattended. I think no. So this is another part that also had problems with the internet, and that is probably because of the thick walls. But you can see also that the windows here are very high, are very elevated, and this was done intentionally. This is, my friends, an very sophisticated refrigerator of the pre-Hispanic times. So the idea was that the cold air will come inside from those large windows and will keep very fresh all the products in that section. The temperature there is like 5 degrees lower than the outside. So it was a place to preserve products. So, and we will keep walking also. We'll keep going in this site. Once again, we can see these triangular niches. The elevation of the site, well, first of all, Puruchuco is located around 320 meters above sea level. Okay, so it's not really elevated. You can see also that in all the temple, the walls are inclined. The corridors are inclined. This is seismic proven system. The pre-Hispanic societies also faced earthquakes, and they were fully adapted to them. There were earthquakes that probably were very destructive. For example, the last major earthquake we had in Lima happened in the year 2007, and it was a 7.1 Richter scale. Sorry for that fast turn. A ceremonial area. We already saw this place when we just came inside this section, okay? So, well, the archaeological sites we have in Lima were not affected by that earthquake, just to give you an idea how well done they are, okay? Let me also go a little bit forward with the video, because I was trying to, I think, give a lot of different angles to the site. And as we keep going down, we go to another section. We pass that part, and we continue seeing what probably is a chamber, a bathroom. So we know that the houses in the pre-Hispanic times, they had, of course, inside like their bathrooms, but bathrooms were not inside. The idea of a bathroom inside still is like, people from the Andes are reluctant to that because it's like, no, that's not really something you should have inside your house. So they go outside the houses to the bathroom. So this is probably a bed. Sorry, I have to remove my this from the screen. Okay, so you can see here a bed, which of course is elevated from the rest of the the ground level. And also we can imagine there used to be some type of fur, some type of animal skin there to work like a mattress. So these were other secondary rooms, and we have also a final room, which is this one here, okay? So this one probably was like a patio, but more recent investigations say that this was a type of a sort of like space for guinea pigs. So it was like a little guinea pig farm. And how we know that? And probably the guinea pigs were like under that element that is suspended, right? At nighttime when it's cold, and daytime they were just walking around. How we know that first? Because there was poop of guinea pig here, everywhere. So we know that there were lots of guinea pigs. Guinea pigs are a very important product still for the Andes animal, but also meat product, protein product for people in the Andes and in parts of the coast of Peru, as well as llama used to be, and alpaca. So that's a little chamber also that is annexed to this part. We don't know exactly what type of things were deposited there, but it's very, very little. I didn't got in because there was zero internet in that room. It could be a type of storage, So llamas and alpacas and also guinea pigs were used as a source of protein for the pre-Hispanic times. So it's like chicken for medieval people in Europe. Usually chickens were in the houses, right? Or next to the house. So this is the same case. Guinea pigs don't have really a lot of meat. So usually each person ate one guinea pig. Llamas are very important still. From llamas, they obtain everything. Everything in the animal was used, from the meat, the hair, even the poop. The poop was sort of like a diesel in a way, no? It was for obtaining, say, elements for burning, for example, like fuel, right? So, well, these animals were very, very important. So, well, this is the site. I will put a stop here. I hope you enjoy this circuit. This is basically the finale part of the video. Let me also open my camera. Okay, so, and this is me without the face mask. I hope you enjoyed this event. You were able to learn a bit more about how was life in the pre-Hispanic times. Also, how was the architecture in the pre-Hispanic times. It means the world to me that you have given me 1 hour of your time to learn about Peru, to learn more about us in the distant South America. And I want to invite you, first of all, to two events I will be conducting this month. Maybe there will be more. So let me know what you would like me to do in the future. For sure, on the 16th, I have a cooking class with my brother. A good way to understand the culture of anyone in the world is through their food. So I will be cooking for you all a traditional Peruvian dish. It's a very, very easy dish. Anyone can do it, but my brother is a cook, is also a barista, and is a bartender. So we will be conducting a show also, a cooking show from now on. Let me know if you would like to learn more about Peruvian food, which dishes you would like to learn about. And it's going to be like lots of things in one. We will learn to cook together. We are going to learn about Spanish, some words in Spanish, because my brother doesn't speak English. So he's going to speak in Spanish. I will translate. He's the cook. I am the translator. And also history, because I love to tell history of, the dishes when we are cooking. So, well, you are invited. That's on the 16th, is free entrance. You can support with a tip, which is highly appreciated because, cooking needs some investment. And also at the end of the month, I will be doing another historic event like this one. It's going to be about the history of the immigrations to Peru. It's a fascinating history. So we're going to talk about the Chinese, the Japanese, the Italians, the Polish, and all of these groups that came to Peru in the 19th century. So, well, you are all invited. If you wish to support with a donation, sadly, I don't have the link here, but please come to my YouTube channel. You're going to find there well, lots of different videos and fun activities like I've done in other occasions. Let's say like with could be with my brothers or with my husband. So it would be wonderful. Sorry, I don't have the link here of the, I lost it. I am starting to learn about Zoom, but please come. My YouTube channel is under Adventurous Travel Guide. The only way to donate for these events is via PayPal. For now, we are in Peru, sadly. Peru doesn't connect well with Buy Me a Coffee or sites like that one. We hope one day. So, well, thank you so much and wishing you a wonderful day and, well, best to you all. See? So have a good Saturday, amigos. And if you wish to see a recording of this event, it will be available also on my YouTube channel. Best to you all. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao. Gracias. Thank you.